Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. This is Wayne Adams speaking. The co-chairs for Green Storage Initiative is Chris Luth and myself, and we'll plow right along. Next slide, please. The Green Storage Initiative has been around since 2008. It started out as a small committee task force, formed a twig, and then we formed an initiative to support the technical work. A lot of the work has gone into white papers and industry education for energy efficiency, and then our continued work through the working with the twig is the SNIA Emerald specification work that's been cross-referenced across the globe with different regulatory bodies, and the most prominent one being the United States and EPA Energy Star program. One thing to understand is that the SNIA Emerald program is a combination of a specification plus other wrappers to roll out capabilities of advocacy, defending the situation, providing storage subject matter expertise, as well as educating the testing community and ongoing results of what our tests do and how SNIA storage architectures continually change, and that we have relevant tests to measure the efficiency of a system itself. One of the new pieces of work that have started at the technical levels down in the lower right, and then we're taking a focus on storage devices. For the last decade plus, most of the focus has been on the storage system and the types of configurations you can do with storage systems to eke out energy efficiency. Next slide, please. Some of the accomplishments from last year included an ongoing review of test reports that are submitted by vendors that test their systems, and we look at how the thresholds are set in industry for getting the Energy Star rating and whether they're fair or not, and looking how architectures and systems that are being tested, if they're still behaving within the types of norms we expect with the SNIA Emerald test sets itself. We've started working on SNIA Emerald version 5.0. We're looking to do a test tool refresh. We use workload generators to generate system activity before we measure it for its energy consumption. And we're looking to replace VD Bench with the Calypso test suite and up-level spec SFF 2014 to Storage Solution 2020. We have an alliance with the Green Grid, and through the Green Grid, they have an alliance with Digital Europe, and we've been doing probably 8+ years of consulting work and advocacy for certain things that are right and wrong in the type of policy writing that's going on with the European Union Lot 9 regulations. We're going to see this continue for the next several years going on. Also this year, with the Green Grid, we published a white paper, which was a refresh of a white paper that we did a few years ago. And we've had that recently translated into local language in Japanese. These type of white papers get consumed by the industry regulators and affect future regulatory policies that a regional government might take. We also released a white paper on the storage device level power efficiency measurement work that we've started, and we're still looking to gain some good traction in the industry. So the white paper is to help raise awareness beyond some of the other birds of a feather sessions that we've held. Going into this coming year, 2023, we'll continually review the EPA's data sets for data analysis. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes now, comparing VD benched workloads against the Calypso test suite with the same workloads and looking for tool correlation. And so that will factor into data analysis and correlation of what's been tested to date. And if we move forward with a new test regime, how to cross-correlate and move forward relevant test results with older test tools without the need to retest. There's some new developments in our industry that have taken hold in the last 24 months. One of them is around life cycle assessments, where we do see several companies, both at the device level and system level, are putting together 5-year life cycle assessments of if this system is, once it's deployed, manufactured, deployed, and retired, what's the carbon footprint, and then that some of that carbon footprint and life cycle assessment data wraps into some larger corporate objectives around governance and environment and social requirements. Some companies are more engaged in that than others, but when you start to peel back all the layers of the onion, you get into carbon footprint in the data center. Storage plays a component of it. And where does the subject matter expertise and industry come from? Comes out of our Green Twig and advocated through the Green Storage Initiative through alliances. Spoke a little bit about, we're in the midst of upgrading SNIA Emerald 5.0. What we need out of the community of SNIA is we need more companies to participate in testing and validating that the tools that we're going to roll out are going to be fair to your architecture, not going to be biased towards one vendor or another's. And it's better to catch this in the test and evaluation process before we finalize the spec, rather than releasing a spec and then someone says, well, I tested it and I'm way off the map. And why is that? We continually be a third party in the data collection for system shipments that go into the U.S. For the EPA. So what the EPA does is they track how many systems are sold into geography, and then how many of them are Energy Star compliant, and they look at that as a penetration rate. And based on different industry segments, they want to continually see a deeper penetration rate. Sometimes that's through better test methods, to changing thresholds, and expanding what the test applied to for the type of systems and products. Once or twice a year, we foster industry stakeholder meetings. These are done with the EPA, they're done with the industry analysts, they're done with other bodies that are interested in being part of our stakeholder meetings. We have discussions around what's coming up on the regulatory front, what's coming out of SNIA, what's coming out of SNIA architectures and storage architectures that will affect how to measure energy efficiency and make a difference out there. So typically we've held these meetings in January is one of them, and we've postponed that off to maybe February or March when we have more data ready and the EPA is ready as well. Once we roll out a test specification, we also roll out a complete package of tester training, and that includes test tools, video training, and ongoing support. And then we post those out to the website. And we've been working on this device level power measurement, and we're going to keep on moving forward on that to create a version 1.0 specification based on the Calypso test suite. So these are some of the work activities that if you got involved in the Twig or you became a member of GSI, you're supporting these activities and you're in the know before they become publicly impactful. Next slide, please. This is an example of the current version of the EPA Energy Star Data Center Storage version 2.0. At this point in time, there's 57 test reports from 8 vendors. When we were operating under the version 1.1 test report regime, there was over 200 system reports from around 14 or 15 vendors. And so there's a ongoing consolidation in industry around the system level testing. Those that tend to want to do business with the U.S. government or demonstrate to any corporation that's involved in ESG, I'd like to see some form of either a life cycle assessment or an EPA Energy Star report to show that you are delivering systems that are helping to save power and the carbon footprint. Next slide. This is our Green Twig roadmap, but intertwined with that is some of the GSI deliverables, and we tend to plan out up to 24 months in advance of what we are doing, and we share these roadmaps as part of the stakeholder meetings. It helps with regulatory bodies to plan in parallel with us so that if they're working on specifications and regulatory policy, that they know what we're bringing out and how they can cross-reference the latest work. So it's trying to move away from a serialized approach to a parallelized approach. Next slide, please. We have alliances that are in place. Some are dormant at times, and then they become active. So on technology and testing, we have relationships with SPEC, with Oracle, and with industry open source consortium of SFlow through SPEC, 80 plus for power supply efficiency ratings. For policy, we have a formal alliance agreement with the Green Grid, and indirectly that goes through Digital Europe. And we, through SNIA Japan, we work through JEDA, who works with METI, which is the ministry. When we had other regional affiliates, we were able to work with some of the other regulatory bodies. But the geographies that are mostly moving forward the fastest and on the forefront for energy efficiency for data center systems have been the U.S., Europe, and Japan. Other geographies tend to look at that work and then cross-reference it. So we're still plugged in at the most relevant areas. And our work on our specification level at the points in time will bring that up to it becoming an international standard instead of being referenced as just a SNIA architectural standard. Over on the right-hand side, we do work across the different technical work groups. In this coming year, we hope to work more with the SFF with their enterprise and data center standard form factor. With our new storage device level test specification work, this type of new packaging that would include storage system plus DPUs would be a good forward progress of showing how different groups inside SNIA work together. In the past, we've worked with the SMI, SSM groups to get profiles defined so that you can start to pull energy metrics out of the system as they're being reported. And from the test methodology standpoint, we started to work with the S3 2 years ago, that's solid state storage, on what they were using for the performance test suite. And we've evolved that test suite to apply to being just a workload generator, not geared for the fastest and greatest system, but for applying a everyday workload in the data center. So it could be that device could be measured for energy efficiency. Next. Our membership going into this year as of now is we have 4 members, and our due structures on the right hand side. This is the chairs are Chris Luth and myself. And then our funds, what they go into is mostly underwriting a lot of the work that goes into the SNIA Emerald specification work. That includes Dave Teal, who is the program manager for SNIA Emerald program, and then and Patrick Stenko does a lot of our data analysis work as well. The rest of the funds go into doing test and training materials when we go to roll out specific versions of the specification. Part of the work that Dave Teal does also is specification editing, so we get it ready for an ISO format when we do a submission. Without the funding of the members, our group would not be able to advance the work that we've done at the pace that we do. And so we need to rebuild this back up again. One of the reasons is, but getting involved is you get ahead of the curve before something becomes industry regulatory compulsory work. So being on the inside as it's developing and having input to it's important. Helping to fund some of the work that goes on is a small amount of money compared to what you have to do for after the fact testing and any type of configuration work to get ready for a test. Next slide, please. So overall, at the system level, we were looking for one unbiased system that could be used in cross-reference across the globe. We're not there uniformly there, but we have high and deep impact on that. Of the SNIA Emerald test methods and the complete specifications referenced by the EPA, parts of it by EU Lot 9, parts of it by the Top Runner program. And without the type of integrity that we demonstrate in our work, it wouldn't be picked up by regulatory bodies. And so If you want to have an impact of your product line and revenue streams in any geography that might be affected by a regulatory policy around energy efficiency, being involved with GSI, being involved in the Green Twig will help you out in the long run. The most relevant parts of the industry segments to get involved in the Green Twig and GSI are storage device manufacturers, system manufacturers, and software vendors. We tend to do, the other groups that we impact are regulatory bodies and agencies, and they tend to not be able to join these type of industry standards groups. They got to remain unbiased, and so we deal with those through alliances. If you join and get involved in GSI, you'll meet some of the best industry experts that in industry that know system performance and energy measurement and metrics and system behavior. And we're fortunate that we have this expertise in house. If you're interested in more information about what we do, there's 3 email contacts here at the bottom of the slide.